This illustration deals with electrical supply to buildings or structures from a distribution point in accordance with NEC 547.9. The purpose of change was to accept a revision. And a revision has been made to remove permissive language to help with applicable and enforcement type language. This revision will also provide clarity that a distribution point is required for agricultural type buildings and structures that are for livestock to assure they are supplied by a grounded 4-wire distribution system to reduce stray voltages that might affect livestock. The verbiage that also clarifies that for existing agricultural type buildings and structures for other than livestock, such as for grain buildings, grain handling, any kind of pottery fish, containment systems for these items, and for existing building or structures other than those covered under the scope of Article 547, such as a house or machinery, shed on the premises, may be supplied in accordance with 250.32B as in boy 1, exception number 1, permitting a 3-wire distribution. So we want to, this revision is really addressing where can a 3-wire system be used, in what manner, and where is a 4-wire required. Now you notice if you have dairy farms, the bottom illustration, housing livestock, a chicken house, that's housing chicken animals and stuff like that, then it reference here, we're going to need that 4-wire system, and we have GFCI protection rules in 547.5G, remember, and then the distribution point with the meter and disconnecting means 547.2 defines that, as you see in the illustration, where you have a utility pole with all the service equipment on it, and then you're routing overhead from that point with the overhead drops out to those facilities there. So this kind of outlines where stating in the purpose of change where a 4-wire system would need to be provided. Now at the very top we have a center yard pole, we have an overhead drop over to the dwelling unit. We have a overhead drop over to a main barn where grain may be handled and everything. And then just dropping down and reviewing 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, it says the verbiage also clarifies that for existing, now note that, existing agricultural buildings and structures for other than livestock, such as for grain handling, pottery, fish, containment systems, for other existing building or structures other than those covered under the scope of 547, such a house or machine shed on the premises may be supplied in accordance with 250.32B1, exception 1, permitting a 3-wire distribution. So if you are wiring these areas, you want to make sure, is it just grain handling, resident, when was it installed, or is it chicken coop areas and housing of chickens for laying eggs and so forth? Is it a dairy barn where they're having electric milkers that in some cases that would milk the dairy cows and so forth? Know the system that you have to provide and where it could be a 3 or 4-wire system, and that's what this revision is trying to point out to the designer or the installer as well as the inspector.